The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us have a moment of silence to honor the memory of Angie Gigliotti, who many of us knew, who worked at Prime in the concourse for many years and was really the symbol of the force and the strength of this Albany capital that we reside in. Reading of the journal.
In Senate, Sunday, May 12, 2024, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Saturday, May 11, 2024 was read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions, messages from the Assembly, messages from the Governor, reports of standing committees, reports of select committees, communications and reports from state officers, motions and resolutions. Senator Gianaris.
Good afternoon, Madam President. By agreement, I wish to call up the following bills, which were recalled from the Assembly and are now at the desk: Senate 3283 and Senate 1198.
The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 166, Senate Print 3283 by Senator Rivera, enactment of the Public Health Law. Calendar number 686, Senate Print 1198 by Senator Rivera, enactment of the Public Health Law.
Move to reconsider the vote by which these bills were passed.
The Secretary will call the roll on reconsideration.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ortsu, Cousins, White, ayes 55.
The bills are restored to their place on the third reading calendar.
I offer the following amendments.
The amendments are received.
Offer to the following third reading calendar bills by Senator Brute, Calendar 146, Senator Ramos, Calendar 211, Senator Salazar, Calendar 683, Senator Ryan, Calendar 713, Senator Breslin, Calendar 879, and Senator Skoufis, Calendar 920.
The amendments are received, and the bills will retain their place on the third reading calendar. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, we have a very special guest with us today, especially for those of us who are not Yankees fans. Please call up previously adopted Resolution 2353 by Senator Sepulveda. Read its title and recognize Senator Sepulveda.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 2353 by Senator Sepulveda, honoring David Ortiz, Big Papi, for his contribution to baseball in conjunction with the 20th anniversary of the 2004 World Series.
Senator Sepulveda on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President, for allowing me to present this resolution. For those of you who are Yankee fans like me, bear with me. You can forgive me later on, but Big Papi is a name, David Ortiz is a name that is internationally known for his great works besides baseball, some of the great things that he's doing since his retirement. Today we honor this figure, David Ortiz, universally known as Big Papi. Our resolution celebrates his monumental contributions to baseball, his profound philanthropic efforts, and the 20th anniversary of the 2004 World Series. Beyond his iconic sports career, David's unwavering dedication is evident through his work with the David Ortiz Jr. Children's Fund, partnering with Sedimat Hospital in the Dominican Republic, and provides life-saving cardiac care to children, highlighting his commitment to health and well-being across our borders. David's impact extends deeply into our community through his participation in numerous charity events, enhancing the lives of kids here in New York. His final tour at Yankee Stadium met with heartfelt respect and admiration, solidified his status not only as a sports icon, but as a beloved humanitarian and a distinguished member of the Hall of Fame. His efforts have inspired countless individuals and have had a tangible, positive impact on the lives of children both in New York, in Boston, and in the Dominican Republic. In celebrating David today, we recognize not just a sports hero, but a man whose Hall of Fame legacy of compassion and dedication will resonate for generations. Thank you, Big Papi, for your indelible mark on our hearts and our communities. Señora Presidente, distinguidos colegas invitados de honor, hoy honramos a una figura legendaria, el señor David Ortiz, conocido universalmente como Big Papi. La resolución del Senado celebra sus monumentales contribuciones al béisbol, sus profundos esfuerzos filantrópicos y el 20 aniversario de la Serie Mundial del año 2004. Más allá de su icónica carrera deportiva, la dedicación de David es evidente a través de su trabajo con el Fondo Infantil David Ortiz, asociándose con el Hospital Sedimat en la República Dominicana, para proporcionar atención cardíaca vital a niños, destacado su compromiso con la salud y el bienestar más allá de las fronteras. El impacto de David se extiende profundamente en nuestra comunidad a través de su participación en numerosos eventos benéficos, mejorando la vida de los jóvenes en Nueva York. Su última gira en el estadio de Yankee Stadium, recibida con el respeto y una admiración sincera, consolidó su estatus no solo como un icono deportivo, sino también como un querido humanitario y un esfuerzo que han inspirado a innumerables individuos y han tenido un impacto positivo y tangible en la vida de los niños, tanto en Nueva York, en Boston y en la República Dominicana. A celebrar a David Ortiz hoy, reconocemos no solo a un héroe deportivo, sino un hombre cuyo legado del Salón de Fama de compasión, de dedicación, resonará por generaciones. Gracias, Big Papi, por tu huella indeleble en nuestros corazones y en nuestras comunidades. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
The resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I am not a Yankee fan. Although I am from the Bronx, I am a New York Mets fan. And so 2004, I was able to observe the World Series as a baseball fan, not rooting for one side or another. And I was able to watch the magic happen. The magic happened by that band of what they called themselves, not my words, they called themselves idiots. But they weren't idiots. They were quite frankly one of the greatest teams that we've seen, if we're being objective about it, Yankee fans, I'm sorry. One of the greatest teams that we've seen win the World Series because they were the essence of what a team was. You had good pitching that rose to the level of greatness. You had great hitting that rose to the level of stupendous, and you had the glue, which is David Ortiz, Big Papi. The only guy that you could ever in the hood call Big Papi is David Ortiz. And it shows you that in sports, much like life being a team sport, you need to have certain people that galvanize your clubhouse and also your community. And so the 63 of us, 62 now that Tim's not here, 62 of us now in this chamber, we are all galvanizing forces for our community so we can understand when we see one in our chamber. And that is David Ortiz, who from what's been read off and what you've seen is a better person than he was a Hall of Fame baseball player. And I will say that the Minnesota Twins fumbled the bag when they let him go. I'm a baseball fan, right? So like I've watched his career, and to be in the midst of a Hall of Famer, a true legend on and off the field is a true honor for me. Thank you, David Ortiz, for all the work that you do. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Senator Sepulveda, for the resolution.
Thank you, Senator Bailey. Senator May on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I grew up in Boston in the 50s, 60s, and 70s when World Series titles were painfully elusive to the Red Sox. And so it's been wonderful, even though I don't live there anymore, to see some of the amazing things that have happened with the Red Sox. And you are such a hero to all of us Red Sox fans. So thank you for being here and for all the good work that you've done.
Thank you, Senator May. To our guest, Mr. David Big Papi Ortiz. We welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of the House. Please rise and be recognized. The The resolution was previously adopted on April 7th. Senator Gianaris.
Thank you, Madam President. Next up is previously adopted Resolution 2027 by Senator Tedisco. Please read its title. Recognize Senator Tedisco.
The Secretary will read. And can we try to have some quiet?
Resolution 2027 by Senator Tedisco, congratulating the Stillwater High School varsity boys basketball team upon the occasion of capturing the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Boys Basketball Class B Championship on March 15, 2024.
Senator Tedisco on the resolution.
Madam President, I guess this is Outstanding Athletes Day today in the New York State Chambers. I'm pleased to welcome the New York State Class B boys basketball champions to the chamber today, the Warriors of Stillwater High School. Stillwater defeated Marcellus High School in a hard-fought 59-50 victory to win their second championship in program history on Friday, March 15, 2024, at the Cool Insuring Arena in Glens Falls, New York. Prior to their success at that level, these outstanding young men won the Wasserman League with a 16-0 record and finished the season with an outstanding overall record of 27 wins and only 1 loss. The Warriors were also recognized for their great academic achievements as a New York State Public High School Athletic Association Scholar Athlete team, garnering an overall team grade point average of above 90%. It is said that the success of any team starts with leadership, and their coaches work tirelessly to make this group collectively greater than the sum of its parts. And although they are not present today, the administration, board, and faculty of Stillwater School District are second to none and no doubt had a hand in this team's success. Please welcome these members and their coaches. Member Lucas Lilac, Carter Wilkins, Thomas McDonough, Shay Brown, Kaylin Leak, Brody Bordeaux, Mason Wagner, Jack Stewart, Jay Gannon, Jacob Niznik, Jackson Muller, James Kokozo, Landon Stye, and Matt Lutz. Their head coach, Bruce Lilac, assistant coaches Dave Cook, Greg Bordeaux, and Pete Dialoya. Madam President, please extend a warm welcome to these outstanding student athletes and coaches and give them all the cordialities of this august chamber.
Thank you to our guests, the winning team from Stillwater High School and their coaches. We welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of the House. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was previously adopted on March 26. Senator Gianaris.
Next is previously adopted Resolution 1983 by Senator Thomas. Please read its title and recognize Senator Thomas.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 1983 by Senator Thomas, honoring Dr. Kishore Kucham upon the occasion of his retirement after 30 years of distinguished service to the Freeport School District.
Senator Thomas on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. It's a bit hard to rise right after Big Papi from the Bronx, who decided to come to our chambers today. But we've got the Big Papi of the Freeport School District here, Dr. Kishore Kucham. He is here with us today after 30 years of distinguished service to the Freeport School District. For the past 3 decades, Dr. Kucham has served Freeport schools with integrity, compassion, and unwavering dedication to his students. Under his guidance, Freeport schools have flourished and achieved unprecedented success in academics, arts, athletics, and beyond. His vision and innovation gave students unique opportunities for growth, exploration, and discovery with a whole child approach to learning policy. Dr. Kucham empowered students of all ages to excel academically, but also focused on fostering their social, emotional, and physical well-being. He made sure that every student had the tools they needed to succeed in an ever-changing world in unique ways. As an advocate for more health and wellness in classrooms, he introduced the daily practice of mindfulness, yoga, and guided breathing. And he brought his deep passion for peace and humanitarianism to our community with the annual peace concerts, peace marches, and an unprecedented 131-mile peace walk hosted by the school district. Dr. Kuncham's journey is not only one of professional achievement, but is also a testament to the power of passion and perseverance. He will be remembered as a trailblazing spirit whose unwavering commitment to excellence can be felt for generations to come. From humble beginnings to his ascent as a respected figure in education, his story resonates deeply with all of us, and especially with me. As the first Indian American state senator, it is both an honor and privilege to have this opportunity to pay tribute to the remarkable career of Freeport School's first Indian American school superintendent. His success demonstrates the resilience and determination of the Indian American community. So thank you, Dr. Kuncham, for your service to our children, your unwavering leadership, and the profound impact you've had on the Freeport community. You will be deeply missed, but your legacy will surely endure. Congratulations and best wishes for a well-deserved retirement.
Thank you, Senator Thomas. To our guest, Dr. Kishore Kuncham, we welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of the House. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was previously adopted on March 19th. Senator Gianaris.
Next up is previously adopted Resolution 2352 by Senator Helming. Please read that resolution's title and recognize Senator Helming.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 2352 by Senator Helming, congratulating the Finger Lakes Community College men's volleyball team upon the occasion of capturing the 2024 National Junior College Athletic Association Men's Volleyball National Invitational title.
Senator Helming on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I agree that we have many, many great people who have joined the chamber today, and it is truly an honor and privilege to welcome the Finger Lakes Community College men's volleyball team to our chamber. This team made history last month by claiming their second consecutive National Junior College Athletic Association Volleyball Championship. The Lakers secured the championship after a 3-1 defeat over the Monroe College Mustangs from New Rochelle. This series was an exciting rematch of the Lakers and Mustangs' inaugural 2023 National Championship. As you can imagine, the Mustangs came out looking to strip the title from the Lakers. And during the first set, which the Mustangs won, it looked like they could possibly do just that. But the Lakers, under the leadership of Coach Stephen Verberidge, pulled together as a team, winning the following 3 sets and returning the championship trophy to the Finger Lakes Community College campus. This victory sealed the deal on a remarkable season for the Lakers, who finished with an impressive 33-3 record. First-year head coach Stephen Verberidge was named Men's Volleyball Coach of the Year, and Nick Ferris the most valuable player. During the season and the championship playoffs, Coach Verberidge and assistant coach Dana Marsh stressed teamwork, and they taught the team important lessons that can be applied not only on the court, but in life as well. How to face adversity and channel challenges into the motivation necessary to achieve your goals. To Dan, AJ, Bryce, C, Ian, Nate, Devin, Sam, Evan, Bryce, Nixon, Nehemiah, Aaron, Alex, Nick, Mark, Garrison, and Jarrett, congratulations. You have learned lessons from your experience that will help you, as I said, both on and off the court, and you have demonstrated to all of us that you have the commitment and dedication necessary to achieve your goals. Again, congratulations to you. Congratulations to Coach Verberidge and Coach March. To the returning players, I sure hope to see you again next year. To the sophomores who are going on, we wish you all the best with your future endeavors. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Senator Helming. To our guests, the winning Finger Lakes Community College men's volleyball team, even though you defeated a team from my district, we welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the cordialities of the House. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was previously adopted on May 7th. Senator Gianaris.
And now previously adopted Resolution 2301 by Senator Canzoneri Fitzpatrick. Read its title and recognize Senator Canzoneri Fitzpatrick.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 2301 by Senator Canzoneri Fitzpatrick, honoring Sir Dr. David Goldberg upon the occasion of being knighted by the renowned Parti Guelfa in Florence, Italy.
Senator Canzoneri Fitzpatrick on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Today is my honor to recognize the accomplishments of one of my constituents of the 9th Senate District, Dr. David Goldberg, or I should say, Sir Dr. David Goldberg, who is visiting us from Long Beach, New York. Dr. Goldberg was recently knighted by Parte Guelfa in Florence, Italy, which is a knighthood organization with nearly 800 years of unbroken history dating back to the 13th century, and which recognizes individuals who are making significant contributions to humanity. Dr. Goldberg was knighted in recognition of his public service after being nominated by a friend who is also a knight, Malachi Holiday of Dubai. He was included in this past fall in a 2-day ceremony with other inductees, including a former Prime Minister of Lebanon, an ambassador, and a spiritual advisor to the Pope, in a ceremony that included a march through the streets of Florence and being recognized in the Palazzo di Parte Guelfa. In addition to teaching social studies at Calhoun High School, Dr. Goldberg teaches Voices of the Past, a joint venture between the English and Social Studies departments, and he is also on the board of NGO Sustainability, a nonprofit organization that promotes sustainable development and renewable energy. And he also consults, and this group also consults with the United Nations. He is on the President's Leadership Council at Search for Common Ground, serves as a board vice president of Peace Education Initiative Rwanda, and is on the National Advisory Council at the Center for Civic Education. Sir Dr. Goldberg, it is my distinct honor to congratulate you on this distinguished award and thank you for joining us today and for your commitment to your responsibilities at night and to continue your efforts that make a difference in our society. Madam President, I ask that you welcome Dr. David Goldberg and extend to him the privileges and courtesies of this House. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Canzoneri Fitzpatrick. To you, Sir Dr. David Goldberg, we welcome you to the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of the House. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was previously adopted on May 7th. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, at the request of the sponsors, the resolutions are open for co-sponsorship, and I expect the Yankee fans to all go to the desk and take their names off of the David Ortiz resolution.
The resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Senator Gianaris.
Calendar.
The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 269, Senate Print 3141A by Senator Mannion, an act to amend the private housing finance law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 61.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 300, Senate Print 509A by Senator Thomas, an act to amend the Administrative Code of the City of New York.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 120th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the result. I'm sorry. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 300, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Felder, Lanza, and Oberacker. Also, Senator O'Mara, ayes 57, nays 4.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 622, Senate Print 609 by Senator Hoylman Siegel, an act to amend the election law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 61.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 630, Senate Print 6933A by Senator Webb, an act to amend the election law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 630, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Borrello, Kenseth Fitzpatrick, Martins, and Rhodes. Ayes 57, nays 4.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 699, Senate Print 99A by Senator Gurnardez, an act to amend the labor law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 60th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
These are new, like that. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 699, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Kenseth Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Helming, Lanza, Martins, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Orts, Rhodes, Steck, Tedisco, Weber, and White. Also, Senator Palumbo, ayes 44, nays 17.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 761, Senate Print 4187 by Senator Lanza, an act to amend the highway law.
Read the last section.
Section 8, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 761, voted in the negative, Senator Bridgeport, ayes 60, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 826, Senate Print 7353A by Senator Bridgeport, an act to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Senator Bridgeport to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President. Education is one of the best tools we have to fight against recidivism of youth that end up caught up in the system, and one of the best tools we can give them to guarantee them a brighter future. This bill makes it easier to make sure that they are guaranteed the right to education that they have, even when they're caught up in the system. So I thank you, and I thank our Majority Leader for bringing it to the floor today.
Senator Bridgeport to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 826, voted in the negative, Senator Martinez, ayes 60, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 898, Senate Print 8708 by Senator Rhodes, an act in relation to authorizing the John Thiessen Children Foundation Incorporated to receive retroactive real property tax exempt status.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 898, voted in the negative, Senator O'Mara, ayes 60, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 901, Senate Print 136 by Senator Kruger, an act to amend the election law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 901, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Steck, Tedisco, Weber, and White. Ayes 47, nays 14.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 902, Senate Print 224 by Senator Myrie, an act to amend the tax law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 61.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 903, Senate Print 239E by Senator May, an act in relation to enacting the New York Open Water Data Act.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this act shall take effect on the 180th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
In relation to calendar 903, voted in the negative are Senators Griffo, Oberacker, and O'Mara, ayes 58, nays 3.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 904, Senate Print 543B by Senator Gianaris, enactment of the tax law in the Administrative Code of the City of New York.
Read the last section.
Section 13, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
In relation to calendar 904, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Canzone Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Martins, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollison, Steck, Tedisco, Weber, and White, ayes 41, nays 20.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 905, Senate Print 600 by Senator Salazar, enact to amend the executive law.
The bill is laid aside.
Calendar number 906, Senate Print 611B by Senator Mayer, enact to amend the election law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
In relation to calendar 906, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Borrello, Canzone Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Martins, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollison, Steck, Tedisco, Weber, and White. Ayes 42, nays 19.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 907, Senate Print 887 by Senator Clear, enact from the elder law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect 1 year after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Senator Clear to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. There are over 400,000 New Yorkers living with Alzheimer's, and this number is sadly on the rise and expected to increase with each passing year. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia that does not affect just an individual, but whole families and caregiver systems. There are over 540,000 individuals and caregivers who are actively taking care of those afflicted, many on a full-time basis. We must do everything within our power to make sure that family members and caregivers have positive, proactive, and empowering support to optimally care for their loved ones. Therefore, this bill requires a state-level, centrally located database of successful dementia and Alzheimer's disease programs to be made available on the State Office for the Aging website. In a state as vast as New York State, with a number of local, community-centered approaches, it is wise to have all best practices collected in one place so they may be replicated. It is also essential to collect and centralize proven approaches so family members have a place to turn with confidence for strategies, ideas, and interventions to improve everyone's collective quality of life. I proudly vote aye.
Senator Clear to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 61.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of the calendar.
Let's now take up the controversial calendar, please.
The Secretary will ring the bell. The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 905, Senate Print 600 by Senator Salazar, enact to amend the executive law.
Senator Steck, why do you rise?
If the sponsor would yield for a few questions, please.
Will the sponsor yield?
Yes.
The sponsor yields.
All right, thank you. Madam President, through you, could the sponsor describe what kind of organization is the Correctional Association? Is it a government organization? Is it a nonprofit? What are they?
Through you, Madam President, the Correctional Association is a not-for-profit organization. It is the only entity that is specifically in statute in New York State law designated as an independent oversight body over state correctional facilities in current law.
All right, if the sponsor would continue to yield.
Senator Salazar, do you continue to yield?
Yes.
Senator yields.
Thank you to you, Madam President. So you said correctional facilities, but these are residential juvenile homes. They're not part of docks. They're not correctional facilities. So would they still have this in statute authority to also observe and oversight there?
Through you, Madam President, that is precisely the purpose of this bill. Under existing law, the Correctional Association has this authority regarding oversight of docks facilities, but what this bill would do is authorize the Correctional Association to monitor residential juvenile detention facilities, that is OCFS facilities as well.
Thank you, Madam President. Sponsor, continue to yield.
You continue to yield?
Yes.
Sponsor yield.
Thank you. What about the Prisoners Legal Services of New York? What kind of organization are they?
Through you, Madam President, Prisoners Legal Services of New York has, for more than 34 years, represented and advocated for the humane treatment of individuals in correctional facilities in New York State. They also have offices right now that are located in close proximity to OCFS facilities, and they have the infrastructure in place and the knowledge that is needed to address issues that might come up, legal issues that might come up in OCFS facilities as well. While that is not what they do under current law, that is what this bill would seek to allow them to do.
Sponsor, continue to yield.
You continue to yield?
Yes.
Sponsor yields.
All right. Aren't there other organizations already charged with this sort of oversight? The Office of Ombudsman, Council of Children and Families. I mean, there's already an existing hotline. Why would we create a second hotline and a second mechanism for all this oversight if we already have oversight in place?
Through you, Madam President, I think that there has been evidence that the existing oversight of OCFS facilities has not been adequate. For example, there was a long investigation by the Department of Justice that uncovered abuses by staff in these facilities in which violence was used against young people. They sustained serious injuries, broken bones, concussions. We have reason for concern about the well-being of young people in OCFS facilities, and I think that it would be beneficial for us to ensure that there is independent oversight over these facilities, not only from within state government, but from entities that are external and can truly provide independent oversight.
Sponsor, continue to yield.
You continue to yield?
Yes.
Sponsor yields.
So if we have a broken system in Office of Children and Family Services, the solution isn't to, as leaders, go in there and clean up our own organization that we have direct control over, and rather the solution is to just create a parallel universe here with another outside entity coming in, doubling the work and increasing confidentiality and abuse and neglect of that process. Why don't we just fix our own existing process? Isn't that our responsibility?
Through you, Madam President, I would argue that these could be complementary paths. It is important for us to do the work to reform OCFS when and where necessary to do that. But I also see value in a truly independent, non-government entity providing oversight as well.
Sponsor, continue to yield.
Do you continue to yield?
Yes.
How will correctional associations' unannounced visits affect the daily operation of the facilities?
The Correctional Association has been doing this kind of work for over 100 years in New York State, since it was established in 1844. And
It has managed to do its work in docks facilities, for example, secure facilities without disrupting the operation of those facilities. So I feel very confident that providing this oversight would not in any way negatively impact the operation of OCFS facilities.
Sponsor continue to yield.
Do you continue to yield?
Yes.
How does the bill ensure that the rights of facility staff are protected during the inspection process that conducted by correctional associations?
Through you, Madam President, I see no reason to think that providing this oversight support for young people who are held in these facilities, that would in any way infringe upon the rights of staff in these facilities.
Sponsor continue to yield.
Yes.
Can the sponsor provide any examples of similar legislation in other states and their outcome relative to what's proposed in this bill?
Through you, Madam President, I am not aware of very similar legislation in other states.
Sponsor continue to yield. A couple more questions.
Do you continue to yield to a couple
Yes.
of questions? Yes, the senator yields.
Was DOCS or the Office of Family and Children and Family Services consulted in the development of this legislation? And more importantly, do they offer an opinion in support or opposition to it?
Through you, Madam President, we did not receive opposition or support, an official opinion from either DOCS or OCFS regarding this legislation.
But were they consulted was the first part of my question.
Through you, Madam President, I don't think that it would be necessary to consult DOCS regarding this legislation, as this legislation doesn't affect DOCS, but our office did seek to engage OCFS in conversation about it.
Sponsor continue to yield.
Do you continue to yield?
Yes.
Is it true that Correctional Association has a stated legislative goal to see juvenile correctional facilities close? Are you aware of that?
Through you, Madam President, I just want to make sure that I understand Senator Steck's question, that the question is if the Correctional Association has had any role in the closure of facilities or seeking to have them closed. Did I understand?
A goal that they would like to see juvenile facilities closed.
Through you, Madam President, as far as I know, that goal has never been expressed by the Correctional Association.
On the bill?
Senator Steck on the bill.
I thank the sponsor for her time on this. Again, this seems very duplicative of me. As I stated in my questions, if we as state government have an issue with how one of our agencies is conducting business or not conducting business appropriately, it would be our role to step in and do that, not farm it out to a third party perhaps with their own view of things and maybe their own agenda on things beyond just pure oversight. We have staff that's capable of doing this. This is an additional cost. I'd be concerned about the impact of the facility. The reason why I asked the question if DOCS was contacted is because DOCS has direct experience with this organization. And again, we just did the raise the age, and supposedly offenders of 21 years or younger are being treated differently. So why we would want to conform our children and family services processes to be more like that of DOCS as opposed to what the stated goal was, which is to treat children very differently, young offenders. Again, it's a duplicative effort. It's going to be costly. It's unnecessary. I'll be opposed.
Are there any other senators wishing to be heard? Seeing and hearing none, debate is closed. The secretary will ring the bell. Read the last section.
Section 4, this action will take effect on the 60th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Senator Salazar to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. As we just established, this bill would authorize the Correctional Association to monitor residential juvenile detention facilities. Today's juvenile justice facilities have, thankfully, quite different conditions from adult prisons, but they continue to face similar challenges. As I mentioned, a DOJ investigation uncovered some shocking abuses that took place in some OCFS facilities, and it really demonstrates a need for there to be additional oversight in these facilities. The approach to addressing this problem through this bill is three-pronged: to authorize the Correctional Association, as it was mentioned, to provide this oversight, also for PLS to establish a juvenile justice unit to legally represent children in the state's residential juvenile detention facilities. That could include interviewing young people about their experiences, reviewing their records, and investigating their complaints. This really is to ensure that the best interest of children in these facilities continues to be served, and I believe that this bill will be an important step forward to reveal and remedy any violations of children's constitutional rights in OCFS facilities, and make sure that we are fulfilling our responsibility to their safety, their health, and their well-being. I vote aye. Thank you.
Salazar to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 905, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Kanzani Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Martinez, Martins, Matera, Murray, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Scarcella, Spanton, Steck, Tedisco, and Weber. Also, Senators White and Senators Rollison. Ayes 41, nays 20.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of the controversial calendar.
Is there any further business at the desk today?
There is no further business at the desk.
I move to adjourn until tomorrow, Tuesday, May 14th at 3 p.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, May 14th at 3 p.m.